Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with a reaction to a new mini-series, Band of Brothers. This was second in the poll that I gave to my Patreons recently, voting on mini-series, and because it's such a famous one, and it's so highly rated, like I know how highly acclimated this show is, I thought, you know what, I might as well do Chernobyl, then go straight into Band of Brothers. Boom, two classics off the list straight away. Now I'm gonna say straight up, I'm not one of these military people. I believe that a lot of wars, and thus good men, are forced to do military work for governments that have sometimes ulterior motives, thus making good people do bad things. And it's never nice when good people do bad things. I don't want to get into a political debate, so those are the terms that I'm going to put it in, but yes, I also understand that sometimes war is necessary. My grandfathers fought in the wars, etc. So I do see both sides of it, but me personally, you'd never catch me in a uniform unless there was literally people invading my country, on my turf. That being said, I like a good war movie. If I was to think about my favourite war movies, I would say Full Metal Jacket is probably still my favourite. Even though the second half of that film where they're actually out in the field isn't as interesting as the first half when they're in the boot camp, that first person in the boot camp is so legendary, it's still my favourite. What else do I know about this show? I know that David Schwimmer's in it. I do believe that other famous people I will recognise are going to pop up throughout this show as well, but I haven't looked at a cast list. I also think Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks helped produce, direct, write, or a mixture of the three of those. I think Tom Hanks at least writes and directs one episode, and I think he also produced it, and I think Steven Spielberg produced it but didn't write or direct any episodes. I'm not sure if that's accurate though. And this was around the Saving Private Ryan time, so they must have just been geeking out on different eras of military history and found another story that they were really invested in but didn't choose it as their optimal one for Steven Spielberg's movie, so they decided to make this mini-series about it instead, I'm assuming. Regardless, as always with a HBO show, it's HBO, their production values and writing quality are usually so high that it will at least be good if not great. So yeah, let's get into this. This is episode 1 and it is called Karahi, which kind of sounds like Michael Jackson ordering Indian food. I have no idea what it means. It's probably a location. I've probably pronounced it wrong. Surely I have to uphold the tradition of getting things wrong by butchering a name straight away. Maybe I got it right though. Regardless, let's get into it. This is episode 1, Band of Brothers, Karahi. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it.
We were in a store and a guy in that store told us to put our uniforms on.
Is this going to have flashbacks from the real soldiers? Are some of these guys still alive? Or were they still alive when they made this miniseries at least?
Who would like to volunteer for the Tank Corps? Who would like to volunteer for the Air Force?
I already know what this show's setting up. I better not see a bunch of teary-eyed, weeping, sweet old men throughout this show. Don't try and make me cry, show. It will not happen. But don't break my heart with crying old men, please.
I didn't do them for accolades. I did them because it's what had to be done.
Is this actually the show starting, or was this some extra shit they gave us before the start of episode 1? Am I watching bonus features right now is what I want to know. Well, that was an interesting start. Maybe that's just the format they're going with this show where they interview the real people and then start the episode. Maybe that's like the cold open of Band of Brothers. Oh, Donnie Wahlberg's in it as well. I think the last thing I saw him in was the start of The Sixth Sense. That's got to be like 1999. I ain't seen Donnie in a minute. That is Dexter Fletcher from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. And yes, it was Tom Hanks and Spielberg producing it. And it's based on a book, okay. And Tom Hanks wrote episode 1. Okay. Are these real planes in the background? Do you think they did this in correspondence with the US military to get access to equipment and vehicles? Because I know the army does do that. Otherwise, this must have one hell of a budget for a show. But I suppose if Spielberg puts his name to it, HBO are just gonna like throw money at him, aren't they? So. But then Young Indiana Jones looked a bit shitty. But then every TV show looked shitty in the Young Indiana Jones days. If it was done now, it would look dope as fuck. I shouldn't give Disney Plus that idea.
Easy company! Gather up! around me!
How many soldiers make up a company?
The invasion has been postponed. We're on a 24-hour stand-down.
I don't know how that would make me feel as a soldier. It would actually probably make me pissed off because, much like a pre-fight ritual, I think there would be a lot of psyching up to do before you got yourself into a battle situation. And imagine getting yourself psyched up to that moment only to have it defused until tomorrow. I always thought that was kind of fucked up how, like, entertainers get flown out to entertain troops, or they have things like movie theatres and that. Now, it seems normal to us, but remember, they're in someone else's land. Imagine if, like, China invaded your country, and then also were like, oh, also, we're bringing in, you know, a trapeze act and some dancing gymnasts to entertain the troops while we take over your fucking land. It is a very dominant flex.
Civilized place for civilized men.
That's the main actor from Office Space, right? I forget his name.
We'll go to Chicago. I'll take you there. Yeah.
Oh no, it's never good when soldiers start talking about their hopes and dreams while on the battlefield. A singular cloud is going to start raining over these two any minute now. Oh, we're going to get to see a little bit of these guys in boot camp as well. That's interesting.
People are at the position of attention.
It's gonna take a couple of episodes for me to get used to Ross Geller talking to people like this.
Your weekend pass is revoked. Dirt in the rear sight aperture. Pass revoked.
This guy doesn't want to give anybody a pass.
Name?
Malarkey, Donald G.
Malarkey. Malarkey's slang for bullshit, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
What an unfortunate name to have in a military unit.
I wouldn't take this rusty piece of shit to war.
The military has got to be right up there with hardcore religious fanatics when it comes to strictness of lifestyle.
Change into your PT gear. We're running Currahee.
And what's pissed off their commander, or is he just trying to install a level of discipline into them by being this strict? Because he genuinely seemed like he was in a bad mood, but maybe that's just how he rolls. I suppose you could probably describe every drill sergeant of all time as seeming like they were in a bad mood, to be fair.
What is this? Easy company! And what do we do? Stand alone! Do not help that man!
Guy didn't make jogging look very easy. He still looks a bit dorky when he runs. It's very hard to forget Ross Geller. That being said, he does kind of have the physicality which you don't, you know, see in Friends when he looks like he could be a drill sergeant.
That may be good enough for the rest of the 506, but that is not good enough for Easy Company!
I'm assuming this company must have been a notorious company in World War II. With a drill sergeant like that, you would expect them to be good or to go home, really.
On my command, they will pour the contents onto the ground.
On the CO's order, you will upend your canteen.
I love this boot camp shit. As I said, the Full Metal Jacket boot camp segment was my favourite of the entire film.
You will fill your canteen and repeat all 12 miles of the march immediately.
Yes, sir.
Fucking hell, this shit is so strict.
You know a man in this company who wouldn't double-time Currahee with a full pack just to piss in that guy's morning coffee?
So Office Space thinks it's necessary to drill some respect into these people. I agree with Office Space. They probably need this shit.
Come on, get to the wall!
Jesus, what the hell is that?
I don't know why they're playing terrifying violin music. This looks fun as fuck. Minus having to dodge the animal entrails. These long jogs look absolutely brutal. Even the jogging would kill you, but carrying that pack and jogging, and the gun. That's cool. Little bit of brotherhood. They don't call this show Band of Brothers for nothing, people.
Congratulations, Captain Sobel.
Thank you, sir.
I was planning on giving him a set of these today. Why don't you do it?
Hard work paying off. They both got promotions for being so strict and getting the team so good.
Private Tipper has spare time for so much correspondence.
He's taking his new rank as serious as his last one.
These men aren't paratroopers yet, Lieutenant. They have no personal property.
That's funny that even though he was criticising, he still wanted to smell the perfume of a woman because he misses it as much as the guy who got all those letters.
All weekend passes are cancelled, officers included.
They are really driving the point home this first episode, just how strictly these guys were trained. So I'm assuming this is going to explain why they were able to do whatever it is they're going to do for the remainder of this show.
Report to the mess kitchen at 0515 hours. Company breakfast to be served at 0600.
Instantly humbling him after his promotion.
Special meal before their afternoon off would be a welcome change of pace. I like spaghetti.
Usually would never treat them. As soon as he knows that guy's going to be in the kitchen, they're all getting bolognese.
Spaghetti ain't supposed to be orange.
This ain't spaghetti. This is army noodles with ketchup.
Oh, well, not quite bolognese. Probably a lot better than whatever the fuck they ate yesterday, though.
Lectures are cancelled! Easy Company is running up curry! Move!
So he just did that to make the guy have to prepare all those meals and then nobody eat them. I get the message. We all get the message. I'm sure they all absolutely get the message at this point, David Schwimmer. Study a dinosaur fossil and calm the fuck down.
No more curry! No more Captain Sobel!
And you know, all joking aside, when the stakes are life and death, loss of liberty and enslavement, this shit is serious. This shit isn't a joke. You want them to be the best because at the end of the day, the better they are, the more chance they have of saving their life. So as fucking brutal as he seems, he is trying to make sure they all come home in one piece.
This will be the first of 5 exits from a C-47 aircraft scheduled for today.
Stephen Graham, you getting absolutely everything, don't you? I don't know who your agent is, but he is savvy with his script approval, because from Boardwalk Empire to this, Stephen Graham just manages to pop up in a lot of great shows. He's probably in Sopranos under heavy prosthetic makeup. This must have been a really fun part of being a soldier though. My grandfather was a paratrooper. True story, they were always told to check their chutes before they jumped. And my grandfather checked his chute and it had been eaten by fire ants or some type of ant were all inside his parachute and they'd eaten holes through it basically. So always check your chute before you jump, people. He looked so disappointed he never landed on his feet. That looked like real footage as well. See, that there is a CGI plane, but I wonder if before they did do some real skydiving to get some shots for this show. Oh, this is another show I'm gonna have to watch all the special features of.
Ted Hunt!
Must be hard to do that after you've had a few pints. Now, parachute infantry is a brand new concept in American military history. 506 is going to forge that brand new concept into victory.
Alright, so we're following like one of the first paratrooping regiments.
We're in the wrong position.
In boot camp, he was very, very sure of himself in his training, but in the field, old Ross Geller here's looking a bit like a rabbit in headlights thus far. Falling on his landing and mouth breathing over a map location. This is a training op. I was going to say, I just realised they all had red armbands on. I was like, thank fuck. That would have been a terrible first mission if they literally just got surrounded and shot. Band of Brothers, end of show.
Congratulations on the promotion. Oh, thanks. You want to call it that?
What else has this actor been in? I only know him from Office Space. He's got like a very controlled, not slow, but just very controlled and precise dialogue delivery. Almost surfery, stonerish, but not quite.
Get them information, we're moving out.
He does not look at ease with this shit. What's made him lose confidence all of a sudden? Just that training exercise not going to plan? Because everyone else seemed to be alright. It was him that was stumbling and getting his location wrong.
Well, now they must have put him in charge for a reason.
Yeah, because the army wouldn't make a mistake, right, Shift?
Are they talking about their actual drill sergeant or one of the other guys who had a promotion? Interesting. There's already a little bit of dissent in the ranks.
Soon your son will drop from the sky to engage and defeat the enemy.
Wow, that was some epic scenery there, seeing the smoky city skyline with the ships out front. Is that a continuity error? Would Lady Liberty still have been green in the 40s? Because I know it was oxidization that caused the Statue of Liberty to turn green. Continuity error or green by the 40s? Let me know.
Hitler gets one of these right across the windpipe. Roosevelt changes Thanksgiving to Joe Toy Day.
That's the fucking dream. I bet you every soldier going over there back then had that same dream. And more power to them. There's always that soldier in these movies though. It was the same as the sniper in Saving Private Ryan. You know, put me within a blah 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 radius of Adolf Hitler. War's over, boys, pack bags. It's always that one guy just gunning straight for Adolf.
The advantages of a prepared position are that it gives you cover and concealment.
Also, it gets you prepared. Hi folks, sorry to interrupt, but just real quick, if the next card I pick up is the Ace of Spades, you will join my Patreon group, right? Ha! Join the fucking gang. Can your favourite reactor do that? No.
Right in through these trees. At the same time, our second platoon in this particular case...
Before you continue, could you just rub out the arrow, make it a bit smaller? It's kind of dominating the map, and I feel like the arrow of our movement could be slightly more streamlined. Well, at least they let them frolic through a field first before they had to go to war.
Why is there a fence here? There should be no fence here.
Everything is making Ross hyperventilate right now, isn't it? It's just a bit of barbed wire, mate. And there's a fence here because there's cows there. A barbed wire fence is generally a bovine containment unit, unless it's being used in a hardcore wrestling death match.
Can you do Major what? It's a wild bear crap in the woods, son.
Nope, thanks to LGBTQ, bears now have their own bathrooms.
Is there a problem, Captain Sobel? Who said that? Who broke silence?
Jesus Christ, Geller, you broke silence more than he did.
A fence! Sir, a barbed wire fence!
He's wearing his fucking flight jacket. The only thing that's missing is the aviator shades. Why try to James Dean your way through World War II, mate? In fact, with Geller's facial structure, he should take his jacket off, turn it inside out and put it back on, because he kind of looks like a sheep. I absolutely love this scene because you never see a civilian just living his life in an area of war and just encountering soldiers on maneuver like that.
Cut that man's fence!
I was ordered to, sir.
By who?
Oh, you know what? Your weekend pass is fucking revoked, Ross. There'll be no coffee shop visits for you, mate.
Lieutenant Winters.
Fucking Simon Pegg, what are you doing in this, mate? With your decent American accent. Anybody watching this that hasn't seen his work needs to check out things like Spaced, which was a British TV series he did, and then he did Shaun of the Dead, and then he did Hot Fuzz, and then he did At World's End. He's also been in things like Paul and the Star Trek remake. But yeah, his stuff with Edgar Wright, known as the Cornetto trilogy, is his best stuff. If you've never seen it, start with Shaun of the Dead. It's the best zombie parody of all time.
No runner found me, Captain. Irregardless, when given a task to perform by a ranking officer, you should have delegated.
Now I'm seeing his character in a completely different way, you know. It's one thing talking this shit and then going onto the field and setting the example you talked, but it's another thing to talk this strict and stringently and then go out onto the field and be a stumbling over your own parachute, map mouth breathing, fence cutting, cow releasing and flanked by the other team dunce cap. And of course he's now taking it out on the guy he just promoted.
So we're going through with this, right?
You gotta do something.
What is their plan?
I will not follow that man into combat.
Also, I'm not 100% sure, but this looks like it was filmed on 35mm, and to this day, for me, things filmed on actual reels just look way better than digital photography. This does not look like digital photography to me. If I am wrong, wow, I will be impressed. But if this is what I think it is, it looks like 35mm. It adds a sort of timeless quality to the look of the picture that nothing I've seen over the last couple of decades with digital photography has been able to replicate in all its crispness. Sopranos was also filmed on 35mm, which is why every episode almost feels like I'm watching a movie.
I ought to have you all shot. This is nothing less than an active mutiny while we prepare for the goddamn invasion of Europe.
So they're all going to mutiny if this guy isn't reinstalled.
You are hereby transferred out of my regiment. Son Ranny, consider yourself lucky I'm only busting you to private.
Are they going to take this? At this point, they should all just walk out with that other guy, you would assume. So they did their little protest, one of them got forever fired and transferred, one got demoted, and then they followed the orders.
I believe just a few of the sergeants may have felt their loyalty lay more to the platoon than to the company.
Yeah, that's what you want though, isn't it? You are trying to install brotherhood within your platoon so they all watch one another's backs to the death, so that's not a bad thing.
Your command of Easy Company has been exemplary.
It actually hasn't, weighing up all sides of it. He trained them well, but he should not be on the field with them.
The division has established a parachute training school at Chilton Foley.
He's going to offer him a job just training, and this guy's going to accept it because he knows deep down he's shit in the field.
I'm losing Easy Company?
War effort needs you elsewhere.
He's more heartbroken about this than I thought. I thought he would have liked getting transferred to a school when he gets to train all the time and not partake. But I suppose he feels like he worked so hard on this company, they're his babies, aren't they?
Good luck at Chilton Foley, Herbert. Don't let us down now.
There's no way this isn't reversed throughout this show, by the way, because David Schwimmer is top billed. They're not going to have him being an iffy drill sergeant throughout a single episode and then never appear again, surely. He does not look happy. Him and Rachel must be on a break. I've been to England hundreds of times in my life and I have no idea where fucking a pottery is. So as much as I'd like to give you my cultured insight as a person who resides in the Isle of Great Britain, these motherfuckers might as well be in Narnia right now.
A few lads actually, so I can get your mince pies from some of this Jerry Clobber, if you know what I mean. Not really.
Oh my god, that is the most stereotypical British dude I have ever heard.
Boy, she sure is a doozy. There's Pucker, isn't it? What?
They really told that actor to up the Cockney rhyming slang to an unrealistic level, didn't they?
Off it, finger off it, you know it. Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Really? Really? You're having a bath if you think you're half-inching that. Really, Tom Hanks? I imagine you writing that thinking you were so cool as well. That is not how these motherfuckers spoke on a daily basis. It was working class slang and mainly used by the criminal fraternities of working class London. People are smart enough to stylise their slang to people who are from their area and people who are not. So even if that dude is from a working class area in London and used that on a day-to-day, when he was talking to a dude from an American platoon, he wouldn't be busted out with Cockney rhyming slang to that guy.
Ramsbury. Pottery.
These guys are instantly an upgrade on David Schwimmer because they have their mouths closed while inspecting the map.
Codename Utah here and Omaha here.
Now we're talking. These are more streamlined arrows.
Each trooper will learn this operation by heart and know his and every other outfit's mission to the detail.
That's good. This seems like all these troops are getting proper briefed, not just briefed once. Like in the movies usually, you see them get briefed and then they're like, okay, we're going now, go. But these guys are getting briefed and briefed and briefed so they know every detail before they go out, which is probably far more realistic.
The smokes, Hawkins mine, 2 grenades, smoke grenade, gamma grenade, TNT, this bullshit.
What the fuck is a gamma grenade? That sounds badass. Be some German Bruce Banners running around after getting hit with those grenades. Oh shit, he's received a letter from home. He's gonna get shot in the fucking face, isn't he?
Why are they springing these things on us now?
It's just an extra 80 pounds strapped to your leg.
Fuck that. If there was something that heavy, you would definitely want to have done drills with it.
Tonight is the night of nights.
Why did you say the third night normally? What was your beef with parody and southerners in the first 2 nights, but the third one you said in your native tongue? I'm coming for you. Fuck 3 nights. You've got 3 days to live. It feels like we're coming to the end of this episode now, and I do like the fact they took the time to take a whole episode to show the training which leads up to the moment they actually go to war. It's cool, man. Without hard work, there is no payoff, so to me, it's no fun seeing the payoff without also seeing the hard work. When I watch UFC and shit, I love watching the fighter training camps as well, not just a fight. I love seeing a fighter getting ready for the war, because that is where they really give their blood, sweat and tears. The fight is the easy part, the training is the thing that sucks, and it's the same in everything, even war. If you've done your time in training, then the actual application of the techniques is easy.
Sorry about your brother, Bill.
Sorry for my mom.
Do you think the army were a bit pissed off at the Life Preserver company for not making it out of a more tactically coloured rubber? We're trying to be stealth over here. You've just put some off-white shit on us.
Good luck. God bless you.
Okay, that's one in the win column for Ross. He definitely gave a better speech than this guy. Now we know who stole the fucking peaches from the mess hall. I was assuming Office Space wouldn't be going into the field because of his rank, but I guess guys at that high rank also went into the field, so yeah, he is coming along. Nice of the guy on the ground to wave them goodbye. The training looks like it's prepared them for it. There's not like a guy sat there hyperventilating like you usually see in these war movies. There's always that one I wanna go home guy. We haven't seen that one guy in this platoon yet. I suppose because it's based on real people, like living or dead, none of the relatives of the deceased or the remaining living would be like, I'm not being the fucking I wanna go home guy. Fuck you. There is no I wanna go home guy. None of us wanted to go home, okay? How many of these planes are Easy Company? Is Easy Company so big that it's like 10 planes worth of soldiers getting transported, 20 planes, or was it just that one plane we focused on? I wish I knew how big these things were. I'm having the same problem just now with Rome, with legions. I just do not know what the soldier count in a legion is, so I'm finding it hard to do the math in my head as to what side has the advantage. I guess if we saw the entirety of them when they were on their jogging, it looks like a fairly large unit. Obviously not an army in and of itself, but certainly like they could storm facilities or trenches or strongholds singularly without any backup. Is he jumping early, or did he just want to appreciate the view? You know what, fuck it, that's a once in a lifetime opportunity of a view. I'd have probably done the same thing. That is an epic shot again, especially seeing all the boats as well. They got land and air covered. Okay, and that was episode 1 of Band of Brothers, Currahee, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, Currahee, what did I think of that? First of all, I'll say that I was slightly apprehensive about reacting to this compared to some other stuff, because I thought, maybe I just won't like this like some people do because it's a military thing, and military things aren't really stuff I like as much as other people generally, even though, as I said, I do like Full Metal Jacket, I do like Saving Private Ryan, even though for me, again, Saving Private Ryan was one of those things that, like, the first 45 minutes were so epic, but after that it kind of dragged for me, to be honest. But yeah, this I instantly loved because it took the route of showing the struggle of these people before they were put into the field. I always love boot camp segments and military stuff, and this show made a great play by dedicating the entire first episode to seeing these guys rise up through the stringent boot camp training of Ross from Friends. And let's shout out David Schwimmer. I did say it was going to be hard for me not to see him as Ross from Friends, but he played an interesting character. As we saw the more subtle complexities of his character than the way he first appeared, he became more interesting when we saw him start to fail, question himself, clearly worry and doubt when even those he was supposed to be training were remaining stoic. Definitely a lot different than I was first expecting him to be, and I did find it interesting though that he was heartbroken when he was transferred, because after seeing how much of a failure he was on the field, I would have expected him to think, wow, this is my out, I can train people all day and talk that good shit shit and I never have to back it up. But no, he was quite heartbroken. And as I said, I think we will see him again in the show, because it makes no sense to give him like top billing when he's only in one episode. Speaking of billing, wow, it was great to see Stephen Graham pop up in the show. What an incredible British actor he is. Dexter Fletcher from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Simon Pegg, the guy from Office Space. This ensemble cast is really high level, and it's so enjoyable just to see these faces pop up playing interesting characters. And just the way it's filmed, acted, everything, it's all of the highest quality thus far, including the writing. It is not, however, a flawless diamond of an episode for one single reason: the over-the-top Cockney rhyming slang. Tom Hanks, take your pen off the page the next time you start thinking about talking about apple and pears and all this other stuff. Nobody talked like that, especially not to an American soldier. They perhaps talked amongst themselves like that, but it was more used for criminal code. But yeah, it became working class slang because of that, but even then they wouldn't communicate with outsiders in the same way they do with people from their own area. So that was over the top, to a point that it pulled me out of what was otherwise a 100% realistic feeling show. But it wasn't a big deal, it was just a couple of lines of dialogue, so it wasn't enough to sully the episode for me. Still top level shit, and I'm looking forward to following these guys' story on the field, and it makes it even more interesting that some of them are still alive and doing interviews at the start of each episode. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA. Peace.